Hi, welcome back to the Basic Swift section. So now it's time to move on to some more logical types of code. In this section, we're going to do what's known as loops. We're going to do two different types of loops. So go ahead and start a new playground, title it loops, save it where you want, and let's get started. First off, we can get rid of that variable up top. We don't need it. So you're probably wondering, how do you start to use some of these variables that you've been learning about? Well, first thing is probably these loops here. The first one is called a for-in loop. And for-in loops are used to iterate over a sequence, such as range of numbers, items in an array, characters in a string, etc. So for example, here is a extremely simple for loop. We would write for var, let's just say number. This word number you can change, but I'm going to use number. So for var number in 0 ... less than 25. Okay, so we've created a for loop right there. So inside the brackets, we want to tell it to do something. So let's say print number. So what this will do is, it'll print from 0 to whenever it's less than 25. In this case, it would be 24, right? So it prints 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through to 24. That's what the syntax ... less than equals. You can go ahead and copy and paste this. If you wanted it to include the 25, so it prints 26 times, you would just do 3 dots like so. So now it prints 26 times, 0 through 26. Okay, that's a simple for loop. Let's try another one. First, let's declare a array. So let's do var names, explicitly let's call it strings, equals, let's do Bob, Mike, John, and Tim. Okay, so now we have an array of these 4 names. So how about this? How about we do a for loop so we can print them all out? So it would be for name in names. So this is the variable that we want to print, which will just be name. You can call it anything you want, but we're using the names array. So for what we're looking for in the array that we're looking in. So for name in names, let's print name. And we should have 4 printouts, which we do: Bob, Mike, John, Tim. Okay, so that is a simple for loop. Okay, the next type of loop is called a while loop. While loops are used to perform a set of statements until a condition becomes false. And that structure looks like this. It would be while some condition that you have, while that's true, do something. And then when it's false, stop the loop. Okay, so let's show an example of that. So how about we do var count is an int equal to 0. So now let's do while count is less than 15. While that's true, let's print count. Now here we're going to have it running all thousands and thousands and thousands of times. See how this happens? Because we're not doing anything to the actual count variable. Count constantly remains 0, so it's going to continue to loop through. You can get your code can get stuck very fast, and you do not want that to happen. So make sure within your while loop that you have some sort of logic to increment or check or whatever it may be. So let's do that. Let's do count equals count plus 1, and it will restart itself once it catches up. Okay, so you see it's caught up, and now it only prints the count 15 times. Okay, so that is a while loop. So while the int is less than 15, we want to take the int, add 1 to it, and print the count. Okay, let's try another example of a while loop. So let's declare a variable called count2, make it 0. Next, let's do a var count2 array of type int, and let's make it an empty array. So now let's do the following while loop. While count2 array dot count is less than 5, do the following. Okay, right now the count there is nothing. It's an empty array. So while the count is less than 5, let's do something. Let's do count2 array dot append, and let's add count. Count2, sorry. And then let's do count2 plus equals 1. That's a quicker way to say count2 equals count2 plus 1. It's quicker just to say count2 plus equals 1. Okay, and then let's print count to array. Let's see what happens there. Okay, it performs just as expected. It takes the count, appends it to the array itself, then adds 1 to the count, and prints it. And here's the outcome. That's exactly what we were looking for right there. So that's another example of a while loop. Okay, so that is while loops and for loops. There's also one more type of loop called a while repeat loop. However, I just don't feel it's necessary to review that right now. You can check it out on your own. It's very, very similar to a while loop. Okay, in the next lecture, we're going to start looking into some of the most powerful tools available to us in Swift, and those are if statements and switch statements. So I will see you in the next lecture.